Welcome to this episode of Learning Fusion. In today's episode, we're going to be covering mats within Fusion. So let's roll this intro and let's get into it.
We're learning Fusion together. We'll learn 2D stuff and 3D stuff and particle stuff and compositing stuff, deep pixel stuff and tracking stuff, but not other stuff, but some other cool stuff, cause we're learning Fusion together.
So as I said, we're going to be working with mats. And in the next episode, we're going to be covering masks. A lot of people get confused between the difference, and there really is no difference because ultimately what mats and masks do are create alpha channels. But there is technically a difference. And even if we go up to our little effects area right here, and we look at all the effects within Fusion, you can see they separate it from mask and mat. So there's different nodes we use to create masks and different nodes we use to create and manipulate mats. But ultimately, they are the same thing because all they do is create alpha channels. For instance, we covered green screen the other day. So if I just grabbed our little delta keyer here and put it, and let's go here and just key it out real quick. If we look at our little alpha channel, you can see it created a mat. Now, the only difference between this and creating a mask is we technically can't manipulate this other than altering our mats, changing our threshold, and manipulating the original image to create that mat from. Now, a mask is technically something we can manipulate. So if I bring in an ellipse and we manipulate this ellipse around, we look at our ellipse, what it's doing is it's creating a mask of that ellipse. And I can manipulate it. Additionally, I can do the same thing with a polygon node. So if I go in here and create a little shape, I just created a mask that created an alpha channel. But ultimately, a mask and a mat does the same thing. You're creating an alpha channel. So with that said, today we're just going to be covering mats and how to manipulate them and combine them. And in the next episode, we will cover masks because there are some cool things we can do with masks to manipulate our alpha channels. So let's go ahead and delete these and let's jump into it. So how do we get mats or create mats? So let's go ahead and look at this little image. And as you see, and let me actually go ahead and add a resize because that is not the correct size. There we go. If you look, we have this alpha channel of this tree. And if I look at our original image, we have a tree. Now this stock footage came with an alpha channel. So if I go to my little Envato here and I just search with alpha, it's going to come up with a whole bunch of stock footage that has alpha channels with it. So that's one way we can get alpha channels. So now if we look, we've got our tree. So that stock footage came with its own alpha channel, which is this right here. And the alpha channel is around the tree. Additionally, if we have still images, like let me go ahead and bring this in. If I look at my little logo here, you can see it's a ping, I believe, or a PNG. And as long as you export your still images correctly, meaning using a file that handles alpha channels and making sure you export that alpha channel with your file, it'll come with an alpha channel. So this right here, if I look at my alpha channel, has an alpha channel around my logo. And if you're in here, if you remember right from our earlier episodes, you can manipulate this. If you're not seeing that transparency in there, you may have that shut off. So if I go to, let me close it down. If I right click up here in our display and go to options and uncheck this checker underlay, you might see that instead. But if I go to my options and make sure my checker underlay is checked, now I can see that transparency within that image. Now, these both came with alpha channels. So what do we do if we need to create an alpha channel or create a mat? So Fusion has many nodes that we create mats with. And the other day we were going over keyers. And anytime we use a keyer to key out green screen or blue screen, we're actually creating a mat. So let's throw our delta keyer back in here. We've got our delta keyer there. And let's fit. And let's look at our original image here. So when I go to our delta keyer, And I select our color and I key that out. I can go to our matte, fix it up a little bit. And if I look at our alpha channel, we just created a matte. So anytime we key something out, we are creating a matte. And there we go, we've got a matte. Now there are other ways to create mattes. So if we look at this footage right here, we grab something like, say, our magic mask right here. And you notice it says it's in our mattes, but it says magic mask. It's not technically creating a mask, it's creating a matte, but honestly, we don't care. Even I use this mask and matte synonymously. It's all the same, because to be honest with you, anybody in the production community that's actually working don't care if you call it a mask or call it a matte. They know what you're talking about. The only people that really care whether you call it a mask or a matte are people that aren't working and have nothing better to do than be anal about you calling it a mask or a matte. Anyway, this is going to create a matte. So if I input our little media here to this magic mask, and I select our color. And of course, I would do this better if it was for production. And I go ahead and track this forward. What it did is it went and created a matte. So if I look at my alpha channel, you can see we've got a little matte using our magic mask. And additionally, there's other ways we can do this. So if I go back to our effects here, and if I go to the mask area, technically this bitmap mask is creating a matte, but remember, we don't care. So if I bring in this image to this bitmap and I look, I can select what channel. So if I want, say, my saturation, I can use my saturation to create a matte, and use my little low and high to get my matte where I want it. We just created a matte using the bitmap mask node. So in Fusion, there's many ways to create mattes, whether it comes with the footage itself, whether we use keyers to key it out, whether we use the magic mask to create it, or the bitmap to create that matte. So what do we use mattes for? And it's honestly, it's limitless. Obviously, when we key stuff out, we're using this matte so we have a key and we could put stuff behind and replace our green screen. We can also use it for other nodes, like say our color node. So if I brought our media in right here to our little color node and I only want to affect her red, I can use that mask that we created, or that matte we created with a magic mask. I could input it into the effect mask input. And this just goes to show, even DaVinci Resolve use it synonymously, because right here it says effect mask, but we're putting in a matte. All these are looking for is an alpha channel. So anything with an alpha channel you input into that effects mask is going to work. Same with other things, like on our delta keyer, we've got this solid matte, but you can put in anything with alpha channel, whether it's a mask or a matte, and it's going to work. Same with our garbage matte input, it's just looking for an alpha channel. But back to our color corrector, once we input that matte into our little effects mask input, we can go to our color corrector, we can affect just that color. So there we go, we just changed the color using our magic mask to create a matte and affect only that area. Same with our bitmap. If I wanted to bring this in and use that as an effect mask, I could. So instead of our magic mask, we are using our bitmap. So there we go. We can go to our color channel and it's basically doing the same thing, affecting that area and some other stuff, but you get the picture. So that's another way we use mattes. Now, one thing we do often is we combine alpha mattes, and it's a little different than just adding nodes together like we would when we're combining images. We have to make sure we're using something that we can actually combine our alpha channels with. So let's say we needed to combine this matte with our tree matte. For some odd reason, we just needed to do it. There's a few ways we can combine mattes. One way is we can use our channel booleans node. So if I bring in a channel booleans node and put our little delta keyer into the background, and we look, we've got our keyed out footage in the background of our Booleans node. And if I wanted to add my alpha channel from my tree so I can combine those two, I can bring this into the foreground. And of course, that's going to pop up because we got to make a few changes to our channel Booleans node. And the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we're adding, because we want to add those two mats together. So we're going to select add, and on our red channel, we really want to do nothing. Our green, we want to do nothing. Our blue channel, we want to do nothing, but we want to add our alpha foreground to our alpha background. So now if you look, we've got both our tree and our keyed out footage combined together. And if we needed to throw a third one in, we could just grab another channel Booleans node, input that, and we could take our magic mask alpha channel if we wanted to, input that. Now if we look, we'd have to do the same change. Instead of copy, change it to add. We want to do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. We just want to add our alpha channel from our background to our foreground. So now we have all three alpha channels combined together. Why you would need them, I don't know, but there are many, many instances where we need to combine alpha channels. Specifically, the other day, we talked about combining delta keyers together, and this is one way you can do it. Now, another way we can combine mats together is we can use this mat control node. So if I bring in the mat control and I input our little delta keyer here to the background, if we look at our mat control, we've got our delta keyer. If I bring our tree in to the foreground, we've got our tree, but we have to make some changes first, just like on our channel Booleans node. So if I go here and select combine my alpha, and instead of copy, I want to add, I just combined those two alpha channels together. And the one advantage of using a mat control node to combine them, now I can affect both mats together. So instead of doing any changes independently and trying to match it up, I could just use one mat control node and do things like, say, blur it up if I wanted to. Blur it up if I wanted to. Contract and expand it. Change my gamma. Or I can change my threshold if I need to. So that's the other way to combine mats. And as far as exporting mats or making sure your mats are there when we go out, just so you know, as soon as we connect to our media out, our R, G, B, and A channels are all going to be going through our media out correctly. So if we go to our little edit page here, you can see we've got our alpha channels correct, and we deliver that. All we need to do is make sure we deliver it in a format that supports alpha channels if we need that, and export it accordingly. So that is working with mats within Fusion. In the next episode, we will cover working with masks. So see you in the next episode.